Today's session then is going to kind of be covering a few different sections of Prima. So obviously focusing mainly today on ERP, Engage, and a couple of future development work. Just kind of moving into the future as well, we'll touch on it as well at the end. For any kind of Prima Go customers or anyone who's looking at Prima Go, we will have a dedicated Prima Go online user group as well coming in October, which will pop some information over at the end of the session. Obviously, we've been Webinar Central over the past few weeks. For anyone who's already joined Terry's webinars on Vantage, or if anyone's missed them, we will be sending those on kind of at the start of next week. So you'll get a recap on basically everything Vantage from there as well. So joining me today then, we've got Steve Dennis, who's our Customer Operations Director. We've got Dan Daly, who's our Orientation Consultant, and we've also got Ian Buckley, who's our Managing Director. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Andrew. I am our Communications and Customer Engagement Consultant. We've also got Rob Harper lurking in the background as well, just doing some marketing activity as he normally does. So in today's session then, Steve, you could just pop onto the next slide for me. So we'll be covering over features of the latest release. So that's a release that went out last Tuesday. So that's 2024.35. We'll be covering Prima Engage, so an update on that. Some really exciting news to kind of share and obviously show you the progress that the guys have been working on behind the scenes. Covering over what we've been up to in the ERP for 2024 and also your feedback that you all kindly submitted as part of it. And then also then kind of touching on the remaining events that we've got for 2024 as well. So if there are any kind of questions that you would like kind of answering in the Q&A at the bottom of the kind of screen, all Q&A today will be via the chat. We won't have any time just for any kind of any verbal kind of Q&A at the end. So you'll see at the bottom of the session, there's actually a Q&A there. If you just click into that, ask your question, then we'll jump onto that and then obviously get those questions answered as quickly as we can. So obviously conscious of the time, I don't want to take up any more. So I'll pass through to Mr. Dan Daly, who will be taking over now to go through the latest release. So over to you, Dan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for attending this morning. I'm just going to share my screen now, and then we will go through some of the new features. So some of them, like Andrew said, were put into the latest release. I've included a couple which were put in on the previous one, just for anyone who may have missed them. So everyone see my screen okay? Take that as a yes. So what we'll start off on is we'll look at some of the new CRM queries that have been put in. So there was kind of a gap in the CRM queries where if anyone used gap analysis reports before, you could kind of see in there if people had bought certain types of products, but not other types. So one gap report might have said, a customer was buying every month. And then another report would say, okay, they were buying every month, but they were missing certain classifications of products off or something like that. So what we've put in now, within company and contacts, some of you might have been into this area already, but if you click the blue bar at the top of the page, there's a CRM section at the bottom. So if we go into here, we've got this drop-down box here where we can select multiple queries from. So the top 4 have been in for quite a while. So stuff such as companies buying it for the first time within this last certain amount of days. You can see if I select any query, I can just go ahead and change the values in there. But the new ones that have been put in recently are these bottom 2. So it's more around web groups, so Prima's attribute groups. So for example,
just 1 second, sorry. I think Steve's screen seems to be still showing the.
So, Andy, there's an option in View Options at the top of your screen.
Yeah.
And there's 2 shared screens. So if you want to see the walkthrough, if you select Daniel Daly on there, then you'll be able to see Prima. But I think I was experiencing the same as you there, Andy.
Right, okay.
Some of the delegates probably were as well. So
Want me to stop sharing? Sorry.
That might be easy.
Yeah.
We have practiced this.
Just let me know in the chat, guys, if that's showing us Dan's screen now. Hopefully it's showing Prima. Sorry for ruining your flow there, Dan.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, all good to go. Fire away, mate.
Perfect. So just in case anyone can see, we're within company and contacts here. And if we hit this blue bar, this is where we've got this CRM query section down here. So if we give that a click, we've already had some options within here. So these top 4. So you see if I click one of them, I can amend any of these values in here to make it applicable to what I'm trying to find within my database. But the 2 new ones, like I was talking about, which have just been added, are in relation to Prima's web groups, so like the attribute groups within products. So for example, this one here. So you can see I can look at companies who have spent less than, X amount in, let's say, technology. And I can also go into a type of that if there is one as well. But they may have spent more than a certain amount in maybe a similar field or just a different attribute group. So it identifies kind of a hole in the spending. So it might be someone who spends less than X amount in technology, but they've spent more than X amount in paper and cards, something like that, in the last X amount of days. And if I then run that and apply it, mine might not bring anything up because of the data on this database, but it'll come up in here and I can just hit search and that will go ahead and bring me up any companies who fall within those parameters. And then likewise for the other new one that we've got in there, and the one at the very bottom, it's just looking at kind of more or less than. It's not comparing it to another attribute group. It's just saying companies who've spent more or less than your desired amount in a certain web group in the last certain amount of days. So in the past, you would have to kind of go into your reporting and try and whittle it down from there. But now we've put this CRM query in just to make it that little bit easier, just to see, okay, which companies of mine haven't spent this amount in technology in the last month. And then you can get a list, you can then export that, use that for marketing purposes or target them. So that's really the first thing I wanted to go over. The second part is in relation to the sales order or the sales quote screen. So if I bring up an order here, some people might have noticed this already, but when you're in the sales order or the quote and you have your contact around the middle now, if you want to create a new contact, it's a new contact, they don't exist already, you can just click the contact button now. And I can do a quick change about any of their contact's information, change their address, change to another contact, or I can just click create new contact and quickly put in a new contact's information in here. So if I put in some random bits of info and hit save, contacts change nice and quickly without me having to go into the company and create it from there. If I want to, and I want to delve into the contact a bit more and put a little bit more information in, so I might need to give them a web logon, change some more kind of sophisticated details. If you click contact, you still do have that advanced edit option. So I could go ahead, click into there, and it brings up what you all kind of familiar with. So you can go ahead, go to the web access tab if you need to make changes from there. But it just speeds things up a little bit rather than taking you to the company window and having to create the contact from that screen instead. The next thing that's kind of changed, more on the sales quote side, but I'll just show you within the sales order because it's exactly the same. But the set pricing function that was put in it's now on sales quotes and sales orders. So for those who don't know what this is, at the bottom of your quote or order, you now have this set pricing button. And what that does is you can basically highlight all the lines that you want to change a price for in your order, hit set pricing, and you've got a couple of options within this window. You can change the sales price for the selected lines in bulk by setting yourself a margin. So I could say, I want both of these lines to be at a 30% margin. And as I hit calculate, it updates the selling prices up here. You can see now what they would be if I apply these. If I revert them back, you can see it goes ahead and sets them back to their original margins and their original selling prices. If some of you like to use discounts of RRP, you can see there's a field to do that as well. I could do a discount of 20% from RRP, and then it's calculated the selling price accordingly. Obviously, if you've made a mistake, you can just revert it. You just can't cancel it. But hit apply, and that will change all of your items in one go. So we had that kind of report of numerous dealers saying that, you know, they put all lines onto an order, and if they wanted to change the margins for like one-off orders, they had to go into every single one by one, and kind of change them there. So now this speeds things up quite a lot. You can highlight them all, change the margin to what you want, or the discount percentage, hit calculate, and then apply it, and that'll go through. So just to show you how that would look, 35.84 and 143. If we hit apply, you can see that that's updated. Nice and easy. So that's in both places now. The next thing that's been put in, which is again being something that's been widely asked for, is within the invoicing section. So in the past, if you wanted to put a company on hold, it was it wasn't too friendly. You know, you had to go to the kind of the company section of Prima, but now you can go into the invoice screen and you can do it from here instead. So if I go into my invoices and search for all of my invoices, I have the ability now to just highlight certain customers, whoever it may be, and I can click trading status in the top right. If I give that a click, in the bottom right, I then have an option to change the trading status to whichever I need. So I could pop them all on hold. You notice when I hit update, all those trading statuses are now on hold. All those companies, sorry. So what you can use this in conjunction with is a new field that's been put in, a new search field. So payment overdue by, which is up here. So you've got the option to filter on invoices which are overdue by 1, 30, 60, or 90 days plus. And what this is basically looking at is the due date within the sales order, so which is updated from your financial system. So if I click into, these won't be because it's a test database, but just for reference, this field here, this due date field. So if it was 1 day past that due date, etc., it would then filter on those invoices. If that due date field's blank, so if your financial system doesn't update this for whatever reason, then Prima will look at the invoice date on the invoice itself and then do 1 day past that, or up to, or 30, 60, 90, whatever it may be. So what you could do is just go into anyone who's overdue by 30 days, hit search, right, pop them on hold. And then that's all you need to do, rather than having to then go into each of the companies and update them kind of manually, or look into your financial system to see if they're overdue and then go into Prima to put them on hold. You can kind of filter for them now on Prima and then set the trading status accordingly. And then one of the final few points, one of the big ones, I suppose, is the new reporting feature or the new reports that we've now got in Prima built in. So it's just basically an updated version of the analysis report. Some of you may have seen it. It's very similar, but it might just take a little bit of getting used to. If we go into reporting and report, it's in the exact same place. So if we click onto the analysis tick box and just hit search, you'll notice you've got 3 reports which now say basically analysis 2 at the end. So they're all the new versions. And what I'll do is I'll walk you guys through quickly just how these work now in the new version and what you can do. So if you get a bit more information back out of these, they're a lot quicker. They don't take as long to kind of load up as the previous ones. It just will probably take a little bit of playing around just to get familiar with them. I've had a little play around with them over the last 2 weeks or so, but yeah, they are much better. So what you can see when this builds up, kind of similar looking, just got an updated kind of skin to it from what you're used to, and you still got the 2 tabs. So we've got a criteria tab at the top still, where I can go ahead and set the invoice date that I'm looking at, because I'm looking at all invoice sales orders. If I want to, I can still look at business groups or a certain company. So if you hit save, this data that comes up on this analysis tab now is just all last month's sales invoice data on this database that I'm on. And what we'll be able to see, once it loads, it takes a while when I'm sharing my screen. There we go. So rather than having kind of two sets of kind of where you can drag and drop, so you had your attributes and your values in the previous report, you can see in the top right here, I have all of my filters that I can possibly put onto this report. So for example, let's say I want to look at product codes as well as each individual company. I've got stock code here. So I can just simply tick the box and it'll start populating that information in. I can also go ahead and put in maybe the account code as well as the company name. And what you'll notice, so they obviously pop into the columns, but you can see them in the bottom right down here. So if I want to rearrange them slightly, you can see account code is kind of budged all the way over here. I can drag and drop just in the grid, or in the bottom right, I can kind of drag and drop them around up here as well. So you can see now I've got my account code first, name, stock code, and then description. It is giving me some totals, maybe where I don't want it to. And if you want to knock off any of those totals, it's nice and easy. You can just go to any of these kind of row labels at the bottom. And you'll see for each one, there's an option to show subtotals on them. So depending on what kind of totals you want to show, you can knock them off. So now I'm just looking at each account code, each company, the stock code and description, and then a total for each company at the bottom. If you want to add on certain parameters that you're looking to find, so it might be profit, I can scroll down in this list and you can see I've got net, cost, profit, etc. You just simply select which ones you want to look at. So I could go actual profit, and it's just popped into the grid here. You do have, just the way I've formatted this report, it's showing me kind of two lots of totals. So it's showing me a sum of 2024 and then a grand total of the report. Because I'm only looking at 2024, I might want to get rid of these totals for the year. And likewise, what we've done with the row labels with the subtotals, we can do so with these column labels as well. So for example, if I click on year and deselect show subtotals, they disappear. So you can kind of clean it up a little bit. But as you can see, it's very similar to what you had in the previous reports. It's just a little bit different in terms of formatting it and getting how you want it. But there's a few other good things you can do, some new features to it. So you can filter and kind of sort information how you want it. So just to make it a bit easier, if I just drag away these stock codes and descriptions, what I can do is if I click on sort and I go to value filter, I can look at the top 10. So if I have a long list or you have a long list of 100 odd companies which have all got data in here, I can say, okay, what are the top 10 or whatever number it may be? I could put the top 3 by net value and hit OK. And then it's brought up the top 3 companies who have the highest net value. And then if I wanted to again, I can use more sort options and just put them into kind of descending order if I wanted to. And you can do this based on profit or net. But you can see there, I now have the top 3 companies just based on net value. One final thing you can also look at, if I remove those filters, are you might want to filter by certain bits of information, but you might not want to necessarily see what you're filtering on in the grid. So an example of that might be account managers. So in the past, you may be familiar with it looking maybe a little something like this with some of your reports. You'd have all the account managers down the left and then their accounts broken out next to it. And then you could obviously filter based on the account manager. But what you can do now, if you don't want to see the account manager down the left, in the bottom right here, there's 2 ways you can do it. I could either drag the account manager in the grid up to the top or down at the bottom right, I could drag the account manager into this report filter. So you can see there, the account manager's disappeared, but in the top left, I can click the account manager and I could just filter by myself. And it just brings me up my account without having my column there. And you can play around with this, chop and change it, and use that report filter to just look at certain bits of information that you're looking for without having it visible. So you can filter on a few things without kind of bulking your report out too much, and you can still have it how you want it. You have got the ability as well, so you can export it now just straight from here. It goes into a much easier format, just standard Excel. Unlike the previous report, which was a bit of a pain to export. So you can just export this from here. You should have no issues, set it up for automation, that sort of thing. But yeah, if anyone's got any queries, I won't go on too long about this. Just give us a shout. If you're playing around with it and you need the help or you need pointing in the right direction, just let us know. One thing just before I wrap up on it though, if you are kind of selecting new information all the time, you can see it takes just a second to load. But if you know you're going to be filtering on a lot of info, there is this button in the bottom right which says Defer Layout Update. So it prevents the report from loading until you've selected your report, your certain filters. For example, Defer Layout, and then if I tick a bunch of boxes, I can then hit Update in the bottom right, and then it will update my report rather than doing it bit by bit. So you might have seen on the last report and the old analysis, it might have, you change something, it says there's a lot of results, this will take a while, you sure you want to do it? So you've got this button just to put all your changes in place and then hit apply, and then it will load up your report. So like I said, any issues on that, just give us a shout and we'll be happy to give you a hand and point you in the right direction if you need it. I think the only last thing to cover, which I haven't got a live example of just because it's on the pod app, but we now have the ability to change stock levels, so do stock takes on the pod app itself. So where this used to be just purely something which was obviously for your deliveries and collections, you can now have a member of your warehouse having the app on the phone and they can kind of do stock takes on the go rather than having to make a note down, go back to the computer, do the stock take, and then go back out. They can kind of do that on the go now as they're kind of walking around. So another feature there for anyone who's using it. Just have a little play around with it and let us know again if you have any issues.
That's brilliant. So if anyone does have any questions on the stock taking part of the app, either if you are using it and just looking for a little bit more info, or if you're not using the app yet and it is something that obviously you'd kind of like to look into, whether that's from the stock taking side or the actual delivery side, just pop us a ticket over to our support email address and we'll jump on that for you, and we can obviously arrange in a little demo of the app from there, or kind of highlighting those new features for you, but definitely a worthwhile investment from there. So I believe up next then we're on to Steve. So if Steve wants to take the floor, I know we've probably noticed there's two versions of Steve in there. We had some technical difficulties before we started, but I'll make sure then that we will be good to go. So spotlight Steve, and you're good to go, mate.
Can you guys hear me okay?
All fine at my end.
Yeah. Okay. So we just wanted to give everyone who's joined us today a bit of an update on where we're at with Engage. Obviously, we did an announcement at the Growth Factory event, and there's been a lot of kind of questions coming our way, like where we're at with the progress. And I'll give you a little bit of an update of that. But I kind of wanted to show you where we're at in terms of the kind of product moving on. And then I'll come on to the kind of the details around the kind of official progress, if you like. So if I go into here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you a bit of a run through. We're working in two areas. We've got a kind of a design platform, which is then feeding into the actual product itself. So we've been really pleased with the results of the kind of design process, and we're kind of getting pretty much a 1-for-1. in terms of the design making into the actual product. So what I'm going to show you here is the kind of design side and where we're at in terms of the design, and this I'll give you an update of kind of the kind of product itself when we were in. I just wanted to kind of show you what we're at in its kind of best light with some more detail. So we're, for the first pass, we're like the first phase, we're working on the kind of sales processes experience within the product, and that is namely the kind of, I guess, the task management, the deals, the quotations through Prima, the activity that salesperson would be doing through the product, and the big focus from the team's point of view is getting this task process and deal process, if you like, as well, really as slick as possible. So we're working through that. So there's an initial dashboard for the sales processor. You can see a version of that here. And we've made along the way updates to the kind of task management side of Prima. And you'll obviously have to see that when you get your hands on the product. But things like prioritization of tasks, the way you can assign tasks, the way tasks can be linked together, the way we display the tasks as a feed, and I'll kind of come on to that in a sec. So kind of from a web experience, the kind of dashboard view is kind of telling the user exactly what they need to do from a sales point of view when they come in the day. So I'm just going to flick through a couple of screens here and just talk over a couple. So company view, we're still working on the company view, but essentially the company view is designed to kind of tell you what's going on with that company, rather than, as you see it now in Prima, the kind of the static information that's there. This is kind of, as a live customer of yours or prospect, what's been going on with that customer. Have there been tasks raised against the account? Have there been quotes, orders raised against that account? So the salesperson coming in has got a much better idea when they're going to have a conversation with that customer, what's that customer kind of saying, versus just displaying kind of static information that doesn't change. So that whole view of a customer has kind of changed. If I show you kind of down to the detail of where we're at in terms of the design, we're talking about we're into the design and kind of implementation of the kind of filtering. So the grids are much more of a kind of web experience that you would see. The kind of filtering that you've got has been updated, and I guess if you use our web store, kind of like almost like the attributes that you would see on a store in terms of the filters. But we've also enhanced the searches within the lookups to basically bring a lot of the data together, so the user doesn't have to remember to click the account code in this field, type it in here, or type a little bit and a % into this field to try and find it. There's a new experience around the search that's been implemented to the product. So I'm just going to flick through a couple of where we keep going. Stop onto this. So this is about the tasks. So we're the task bit of the product is really kind of advanced in the process of where we're at the moment. And we've changed a lot about how kind of tasks work in Prima. Some customers use it now, some don't. But making sure the user's got all the information to hand to have the conversations with the customer and have meaningful conversations, but also the recording of that conversation and visibility of what's gone on with previous conversations is all there to hand if you need to kind of speak to that client or prospect. You'll see in the center section there's some stuff here. We've introduced tags to the calls, so you'll be able to kind of see the types of conversations, and in what will also be in there is kind of events that have happened. So if it's an automated tag, if you like, based on something happening within the business, then you'll see that within the flow as well. But for example, couldn't get through to the customer, there may be a tag related to that, and you can then have a look, and the idea is you'll be able to report on the tags that are against the tasks and the conversation, so you can kind of see if there's prospects that you're not getting through to over and over again, then it may need a different approach. If there's how many times your people are getting demos or completing quotes, that kind of stuff. So you have the visibility of that within the tasks. Go back one. So we've done some more work on the info center on the side. So we're updating this to kind of give some meaningful information. These reports pop out. So the gap report, for example, is a snapshot of the kind of the spend profile of that account. So you need to speak to that customer. What classifications are they buying in? So you've got your top X classifications, and you can see this customer spending in 20% of those. So there'll be some color coding around the kind of what that means to you guys as a good account. But it also highlights when you need to speak to that customer, I can see the trend or the profile of that spending account. So some meaningful information prior to the conversations. Some action buttons that are clear, toggles, and kind of like, I guess, just an overall much improved experience around the tasks. I moved forward ahead a couple there, but what we also have in these now, so we've got the updates. So you've got this pop out from the side, and you'll see this around the product. There's sometimes where you want to just get a snapshot of the information, but you don't need to open the full record. I know in Prima now you probably have to jump through to kind of get the thing you want. We're giving the user an experience of a bit of a preview. They can make updates within the preview. If they're previewing from a grid, there's navigation within that preview, and it just allows the user to kind of have visibility of the things that they may or may not want, and then flick through or close out or expand to the full screen if it is something that you want to do. So big part of the experience for the user there. Just as I flick through, so these are just some of the bits that are currently being implemented at the moment from a design point of view into the product. These screens, so I'll just flick through. So these are just the updates that the user will be able to do from the task itself, and these will apply to different areas within the system. So if I just jump forward a couple, so we've got the pipeline management. So that's within the product, and that's allowing you to kind of nurture those deals that are potentially more than just a quote that's come in from a customer, an email. It might be a tender. It might be a different type of sale that you might want one of your salespeople to work on. It might be they give you a list that you want to kind of work on from a kind of a contract point of view. It might be a furniture or prospect or something. So you can build different pipelines depending on the sales team, and then you can slot the different opportunities into those deals, into those stages within that pipeline. Sorry, and then that can be moved forward, moved back. Once you put quotes on into Prima, and the quotes associated with a deal, the values will update to be relative to the actual monetary values that you're putting on the quotes. And again, these things have got preview modes in here, so you can update from the grid if you've got lots in your thing. We've actually put in as well. There's a grid view of the pipeline or deal management. So anyone who's working on lots of deals, and this is a popular area of the system, you'll be able to kind of get a grid view for quick access and quick navigation of the kind of opportunities that you've got going on. Look at the contact. That was just an updated view of the contact. So, and then there's some work on the quotes and orders. So there's an updated view on the quotes and orders, inline edits like a spreadsheet in terms of pricing, clearing out some of the information that we've kind of said Prima's screens are a bit busy, but also bringing some like intelligent information in to kind of help the salesperson get the best out of that opportunity on a quote or on an order. And then the last one here at the moment is the deal. So again, that links into tasks. You can convert tasks into deals, so the conversations expanded over a period of time, and you might want to actually go, right, okay, there's something happening here that can move in towards a kind of a sale opportunity. You can convert all that conversation into a deal, and then it basically brings all that with you, and then you can start bringing in quotes. You can start kind of moving that through your sales pipeline with your sales manager or whatever. So it's really kind of moving forward at pace in terms of the product. We said at growth factor Q4, as per the last, I got some kind of really positive news. As per the last update, the alpha release of Engage entered into the kind of Prima development cycle, Prima development release cycle. So we are now in an alpha testing phase. There's a kind of large team within the organization on that, and within the next 2 weeks, could even be sooner than that, but probably within the next 2 weeks, we're going to have first sales team kind of using this as the task and deal kind of management from a pipeline perspective, and it's going to be the kind of that first kind of running test of that. So really excited for that. It's moved on at pace. There's a lot happening with the product on a daily basis, and we've said a Q4 release with customers, and we still believe that as now. We'll definitely have it with beta sites within Q4, and then it will really be the kind of feedback of clients and stuff at that point to kind of move it towards the kind of commercial release. So it, from a kind of development perspective, it's on track to achieve what we said we would do. So we wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed. Happy to have a conversation separately with anyone who wants to kind of talk about it no more. We've had lots of interest in terms of people wanting to kind of get involved. And what I would say is in the first phase, we're kind of working with the tasks and the deals and kind of really kind of nailing that down. So if anyone either uses that stuff now or kind of is green to it, if you like, then we'd be interested to speak to you, because it will be the case that the product will have to kind of suit both things. But we're working towards a default kind of sales process through Engage that we can kind of roll out to clients, and they can kind of take and run with it. And obviously the other bits of the product are kind of going on as well. So hopefully that was an okay update for you guys. The next bit on the list is the ERP stuff. So again, kind of referring back to growth factor, we talked about what we wanted to do this year in terms of the product. Engage aside, we had a list of kind of dev stuff that we wanted to kind of work on and kind of committed to work on. So I just wanted to kind of tell you where we are with relations to that. So the phase reskin and facelift, part of that, the first phase of that, if you like, has kind of been implemented as per the last. We're still receiving feedback on it, and we need to move it to a new control, basically, the product, and that was part of this reskin. But now that's in place, the kind of the movement around of some of the fields, the better placement of that within the back office, that stuff can be worked on, and we need user feedback really to tell us what needs to happen there. So that's kind of in play, if you like, in terms of a project. The Sage 50 integration. I always get the name wrong. Is it HyperX Sage?
Hyper Sage.
It's hyper, whatever it is, but it's essentially it's a turning your Sage 50C, if you link into that financial system, into effectively an API integration such as QuickBooks, Xero, Sage Cloud, but obviously with the infrastructure of your Sage 50 product. So it's been a request for a long time to get better integration with Sage 50, because it's by far our most popular financial platform. And I think the work that's gone on there will really kind of enable the customers to kind of stick with that product, Sage 50, and see a future there with that product. So we're looking again to work with some clients on that to kind of get that kind of going. Ian, have you got something to jump in there?
Yeah, while you were presenting, a few kind of questions were coming through, Steve, and
Okay.
people were kind of talking about our new trading status facility.
Yeah.
If you use QuickBooks or Xero, that due date thing is actually live now, so you can kind of start using that. Obviously, with Sage, the current setup works through SDOs, so it's kind of like it's not API connections. These SDOs are limited, whereas Hyper EXT is a cloud-based solution in the middle that enables like the API communication between Prima and Sage 50. So what that enables us to do is have more direct lines of communication with Sage. So things like statement information will come back rather than just aged balances, and you'll get the payment statuses, whether it's been paid or not. You'll get the due date. Obviously, once we've got all that information coming back in, we can look at phase 2 of that trading status and add in automation. You know, if someone goes over 30 plus days, then automatically we can put them on hold. But at the moment, obviously, we've got to work with the limitations of those SDO connections. So we're really quite excited by this Hyper EXT links. It'll transfer info back from Sage as well. So if you put someone on hold in Sage or you change details in Sage, it comes back into Prima. So really is like a full, kind of integrated account solution. So that's going to be really good to get that out, and anyone who's willing to try it, kind of give us a shout, and we'll get you kind of we'll give you some more info and hopefully get you on board with it very soon. Is that okay, Steve?
Yep, it's fine. So next one on the list is the dynamic stock reordering. So we've got the facility within the stock reorders now. We added a new type in to the stock reorders, and that just allows Prima to kind of look back over a period and suggest the reorder level, not reorder levels, but reorder amounts based on previous usage for your next set of reorders. So anyone who uses the kind of stock reorder function at the moment, but is having to kind of, I guess, do a manual process on that, there's an opportunity there at least to try it with a couple of products, some of your kind of fast moving stuff, and see how that can kind of work for you in terms of managing the stock holding that you've got. CRM queries, Dan went through those before, so they're live in the product, and same goes for the app and the stock adjustment stuff. So in terms of those ones are kind of in the product now. We've then got the stuff that's still to come. So again, referring back to the growth factor, we had the customer service pop out. So this is really to assist those kind of power users that are doing all the stuff in Prima, the sales, the purchasing. They want to find out stuff about customers. There's requests coming in. We know there's potentially quite a few modules and screens to go and get information that really should be at your fingertips. So that's a project for this year, and also the 365 integration to be able to link to your email to send a quote to your customer, for example. Given the fact that there are some complications around PDF kind of attachments and stuff, there will be the case that you'll probably need to keep your Prima email to send the bulk kind of invoice runs, and some of your customers kind of accept it in their systems based on a PDF being accepted and stuff. So this is really kind of the 365 integration really is from a user experience point of view, and kind of those ad hoc connections that you want, or ad hoc documents that you kind of want to kind of link to Prima. So those two key projects from a 2024 point of view are still they're still live for us to deliver to customer base. Next thing. So your feedback. I'm doing this a little bit backward, but based on all the feedback that was received when the invite went out, thank you everyone for kind of getting involved. The reason really for asking was we have the enhancement committee quarterly basis, and we needed to kind of invigorate that, if you like, with some further feedback from the wider base. And if there's more people that are kind of interested in getting involved in that, I'm definitely can kind of share some information with you. But really, it was looking at the feedback that we've received, and then kind of the stuff that's coming on the back of that for the product, and kind of helping shape the future based on what the users are kind of giving. So there's some stuff that's come out of the feedback from the users, and I just put I just chucked it into one of those word cloud generators, and it was kind of this was the stuff that came back. So you can see bang in the middle there, CRM was a kind of a thing that we were getting some feedback for from our customers, which for me, and I think for the team as well, is kind of the Engage project can bring so much to that. Yes, we're going to continue doing some bits within the ERP like we've done with those CRM queries, and the customer service tool might help go some way, but the CRM feedback was kind of around kind of the sales, driving that sales conversation. We've had, you'll see some stuff that's been on there for a while. We've got some stuff about booking in, reversing booking in, the not enough resources thing that you might see in the top corner. If anyone's on the call now and they've received that as a Prima user, we've had a bit of a breakthrough there, if you like. Recent site visit, we were able to replicate repeatedly the conditions that kind of caused that, and we're now actually working on a solution to kind of remove that from Prima. So we'd had you may have received it over time, but I saw in one of the feedbacks, I think it was Sarah on the feedback had put it as one of the feedbacks. It was something we know, like, but it was really, really difficult to pin down how we could repeatedly achieve that result of it saying there are not enough resources. So we've had some stuff there. So it was great to see it in the feedback. Price visibility that we've got in here, last price paid, that kind of stuff. Could the customer service tool, we think, can help some stuff there, and also the Engage product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the this is the feedback that everyone had kind of sent through. So I'm going to share it with people who've joined the call. But for some of the, I've not put the customers on, but for some of the feedbacks that we've received on here, I'll reach out just because we need a bit more context of what it is, in terms of the details surrounding either the issue that you're having or the nature of the thing is just a bit too generic for us to kind of do anything with, if that makes sense. So it was really, really appreciated. And like I say, there's two bits to this. Like it enables us to see, like going back to that previous slide, the stuff that we're working on and said we were going to work on, is kind of answering some of these questions, but also the Engage project and how important that can be to kind of helping our customers drive the businesses forward. So I think, yeah, the request is really keep giving us your feedback like this. Make sure we're kind of on the right track, and I'll share this with you. And if you've got any comments on the nature of the stuff that's here, then you can get in touch and let us know. And again, if anyone's interested in getting involved in the kind of enterprise committee, give me a shout and we can go through that together and tell you what's involved. But yeah, I've waffled on for a bit there. So I'm gonna just move to the next one. Andy, are you gonna kind of give some info around the next bit? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, brilliant. So as you can see, obviously we've been quite busy with a lot of back office and Engage developments. Still lots to come for the rest of the year. There's only obviously somehow it's nearly October, which is a bit mental because it feels like it was only January. I think with a washout of a summer, it's always the case, isn't it, that we always miss it. So yeah, still lots to come. So a lot of enhancements to still be working on as part of the dev team. The Engage launch coming through. On the back of that, obviously, we do have a few events that are coming up in the kind of rest of the calendar year. So we are at the Office Friendly, so any Office Friendly dealers, we are at the Office Friendly conference on the 4th of October. So that'll be myself, Ollie, Tim, and Rob who'll be at that one. So obviously, pop over, come and see us. We can kind of show you a bit about Engage, answer some questions face to face. On the 17th of October, you'll get some more information on this kind of coming next week. We'll have a Prima Go focus group. With the Prima Go focus groups, that is directly with our Prima Go team. So obviously we're kind of showing you similar to what we've done today, what we've been working on, what's to come, and obviously a chance for kind of a similar type of thing with the kind of Q&As and also who are using the platform already, or if there are any kind of potential dealers who are looking to use Prima Go, obviously I'm more than happy for you to join along as well. Obviously would be brilliant to have you there. And then on the 21st of November, we'll have a team of us over in Dublin for a user group meeting. So you don't have to be obviously an Irish dealer to kind of attend that. If you are a UK-based dealer and want to pop over, by all means, obviously just get in touch with us, and there's still some spaces available for that. It is a limited capacity event just due to the venue, but obviously if you put your email and get your name down, then the space is yours, and we'd love to see you there. So obviously very busy, lots to do. But I'm sure obviously kind of by the end of the year we'll have things even moving forward. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys in person for any of those who are attending those events. If you've kind of got any questions obviously on the back of it, then just either pop us an email across or kind of any general queries, just pop it through to our support team. Obviously we'll pick it up from there directly. Anything regarding obviously Engage or the kind of enterprise or enhancement committee, if you just get in touch directly, I believe, would it be best through Steve on that one, or is it
there's a form on the website. I'll share it when I share the details of the requests and feedback that's come in. I'll share it on there so people can come back to that if they need.
Brilliant, excellent. So is there anything else that you guys would like to say before we wrap up here? Have you got any words to say at the end, Ian, or
no,
we all good?
Other than just thanking everyone for your continued support as customers, and also, you know, for joining us today and forwarding your direction and feedback. We are a service to our customers. You know, we do try and do what's right for you. We keep close to the industry. We keep close to what you need from your software. So as long as we can keep that communication flowing between ourselves, I think, you know, we'll do a good job together. So thank you very much. And, you know, our door's always open here. If anyone wants to chat to any of us, you know, we love speaking to customers and sharing our, you know, kind of experiences with you. So, you know, feel free to drop us a line personally or through support tickets, and you know, we'll carry on talking, and yeah, let's achieve great things together. And hopefully you're all excited by Engage from what you've seen today. We certainly believe it's gonna help drive sales and give you that competitive edge in the market and help you identify new opportunities. So it's yeah, going to be a great tool for that. Thanks from me.
Definitely. Brilliant. Yeah, so thanks a lot, guys, for joining us today. We've wrapped up in decent time, so obviously you can all go and enjoy your Friday. We'll be sending on the recording of this session, obviously, once it's available after this. So if anyone did miss any of it, don't worry too much. You can always replay it across the weekend to your heart's content. So I'm sure you definitely don't have anything better to do. So yeah, we'll pop that through, obviously, with kind of additional information as well regarding the feedback, and obviously any information on events. Just pop us a reply back once you get that email through, and we'll take it from there. So yeah, so with that being said, I think we'll wrap up from here. So I hope everyone obviously has enjoyed today's session, has found it really informative, and I hope everyone has a really great weekend and a good push on for the rest of the year. Brilliant. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.